My billionaire husband used our daughter's period flow for ritual.
In the bustling city of Onitsha, where noise never sleeps and dreams rise and fall like the tides of the river Niger, lived a man called Odogwu. Odogwu was a man everyone respected. His furniture showroom was a testament to his success. Fine wardrobes, luxury dining sets, imported sofas that seemed to whisper luxury to anyone who entered. He was the man people pointed at with admiration. He is blessed. That one, hardworking personified. He is going places, no doubt. His furniture business boomed, fueled by luxury imports, sets from Turkey and China. He supplied top hotels. He drove fine cars. His name opened doors. His wife, Nneka, walked with pride. His daughter, Olivia, lacked nothing. Life was good. Life was beautiful. Until the world changed. When the world faced the storm of COVID-19, Odogwu's empire began to crumble like a pillar already cracked. The final blow came one fateful night when a frantic call from a sales girl jolted him awake. Fire had engulfed his warehouse. Everything burned to the ground. The goods he had taken loans to acquire, the last hope he was holding on to. The weight of his debt crushed him. Bank loans, unpaid suppliers, cancelled contracts. Odogwu watched his dreams collapse like dry garri in water. Suppliers stopped shipping. Customers vanished. Rent piled up like a mountain. School fees became a heavy burden. And one by one, all the workers he once fed and cared for quietly abandoned ship, leaving him to face the storm alone. Shame became his closest companion. Odogwu sold his cars just to feed his family. Then he sold his generator. Then he sold his last stock at a painful loss. And when he walked through the market, the same people who once bowed with respect now chuckled behind his back. See, Emma, he used to brag too much. I get M before no be property. Pride goes before a fall. Their mockery cut deeper than poverty ever could. He began walking with his head down, avoiding old customers and familiar faces, hiding from the sneakers and whispered insults. Yet, even in his misery, one person still walked with her head held high. His wife, Nneka. She encouraged him. She cooked with whatever little she could find. She patched up the home with the strength she didn't even know she had. She tried desperately to keep the family afloat, but poverty is a fire that burns dignity into ashes. And every night, Nneka cried quietly, hiding her tears from their daughter Olivia. But poverty, once it enters a home, speaks louder than any secret. Their once comfortable life slowly faded into a daily struggle. Then came the day everything cracked. The landlord stood at their door, threatening eviction. Olivia's school called for the fifth time, demanding their unpaid fees. Nneka cried again that night, thinking no one could hear her. But Odogwu did. And in that moment, with responsibility pressing on his shoulders, with shame clawing at his heart, with poverty stealing the last fragments of his pride, Odogwu finally broke. A childhood friend of his, Victor, whom he used to give money to during his wealthy days, had now become extremely rich. The kind of rich that sparkles. New cars, new houses, new businesses, new swagger. People whispered about him with admiration. Victor is blessed. Victor's money no, they finish. He was even a titled chief now. They called him Chief Vic of Onitsha. So when Odogwu could no longer bear the weight of shame, he picked up his phone and dialed the number of his old-time friend, Victor. He told him about his struggles, the collapse of his business, the debt choking him, and his desperate need for financial help. Victor listened, Victor understood, and Victor helped. Victor, gracious and kind, sent money to clear Olivia's school fees. When Odogwu called again, Victor paid their rent. But on the third call, Victor paused for a moment and said, "Come to my house, let's talk." And so, when Odogwu went to meet him, he carried all the pride he had left, put it in a plastic bag, and threw it away. He knelt. He begged, "Please, my brother, lend me more money. My family is suffering. I need capital to import new goods. I promise to pay back when things get better." The goods I imported after COVID got lost in the high sea, and now the banks and my suppliers are after my life. Victor laughed softly, not mockingly, but like someone who had seen this story many times before. Odogwu, sit down first, he said warmly. You are my friend. You don't need to kneel before me. Sit. Odogwu sat down slowly. Victor cleared his throat, leaned back in his chair, and began to speak. Odogwu, you think money comes from hard work alone? No, hard work is good, but it is not enough. Odogwu looked at him, confused. What do you mean? Victor leaned closer, lowering his voice. You can become rich again, richer than you ever imagined, but only if you accept what I'm about to tell you. Odogwu's heart began to beat like a talking drum. Victor, at this point, I am ready to do anything. Victor nodded. Odogwu, I hear your cry. I know your pain, but there is a man who helped me. Odogwu's head snapped up. What man? He asked. Victor whispered, a powerful Dibia, the one who turns paupers into kings. Odogwu's eyes widened, desperation glowing behind them. How much? He asked quietly. He doesn't want your money, Victor replied firmly. He only needs your obedience, your silence, and your courage. But remember this. Victor paused, watching Odogwu's face. Every blessing from the night has a price in the morning. Odogwu hesitated. He knew what Victor was implying. He felt fear crawling up his spine. But then he remembered the mockery in the market, Nneka's quiet tears at night, and the life he once lived, the glory he had lost. And in that moment, his mind was made up. Whatever it takes for me to be wealthy again, Odogwu said, voice steady. I will do it. Victor studied him again. Are you sure? Yes, Victor. I am ready. Victor exhaled slowly. All right then. Tomorrow night, we will go and see the wise one known as Dibia. And that was how the beginning of the end truly started. Odogwu returned home after he met with Victor. He was drowning in thought. His wife, Nneka, brought him his meal, but he had no appetite. The thought of what the Dibia might demand in exchange for wealth drained him completely. Will he ask for my wife, my daughter, my family? What will be the price? He slowly drifted into a restless sleep. The next day, he woke up with the same questions pressing heavily on his heart. He and Victor had agreed to meet by 9 p.m. Odogwu did not step outside once. He lay down the entire day, thinking, preparing, fearing. That night, Victor led him through a silent street, then into an unfamiliar alley, until they reached a hidden compound where an old shrine breathed with ancient air. Thunder rumbles. The shrine glows with eerie red light. Inside, an elderly man sat cross-legged, covered in traditional chalk markings. Cowries lay scattered before him. Ancient objects hung from the wooden rafters. Odogwu enters, trembling. Before Odogwu could ask questions, I know why you came, he said, looking at Odogwu with eyes that saw more than the physical. I have been expecting you, Odogwu. Odogwu shivered. He had said nothing. Expecting me? You seek wealth, the wise one continued. You want to rise again. After the world has humiliated you, your shadow cried before your feet arrived, and wealth has answered. Immediately, Odogwu fell to his knees. Wise one, help me, save me from poverty. The wise one smiled. Good, because the spirits have been waiting. He brought out a small calabash filled with red chalk, kola nut pieces, and cowries. But when he spoke again, his voice grew darker. However, every wealth must be fed, and your wealth must be fed by your own bloodline. Your bloodline will be the river that feeds your riches, not her body, not her innocence, but her cycle of womanhood, a natural flow, a monthly stream. Her monthly blood will be the river that carries your riches. Odogwu frowned. Whose blood? Your daughter, the wise one answered quietly. The one who carries the light of womanhood. Odogwu trembled. He understood enough to be afraid, but poverty had eaten his fear. Shame had swallowed his pride. He had nothing left but desperation. In a low, shaken voice he whispered, I accept. The wise one smiled, a slow, unsettling smile. Then your journey begins. Odogwu was asked to bring his daughter used sanitary pad and her picture. The next ritual day, Odogwu returned to the shrine alone with all that had been requested. The wise one performed the ritual, forging a supernatural connection. As long as his daughter continued to menstruate through her natural cycles, Odogwu would rise again, never lacking. And so the ritual was completed, the path was set, and Odogwu's fate, along with his family's, shifted forever. From that night onward, wealth poured into his life like floodwater. Old customers returned, new investors appeared from nowhere. His account swelled, his shop expanded. He bought a new car, he put his daughter in a private school, he opened a boutique for Nneka. People hailed him. Odogwu is back. Odogwu has risen again. Odogwu rose like the morning sun, shining brighter than everyone who once mocked him. But unknown to Nneka and Adaora, what the world celebrated came with a hidden cost, because each month, on the night of her first period, Adaora would suddenly grow weak. Her eyes would blur, her body would fall into a deep, unnatural sleep. And somewhere in the house, her father would go into his inner chamber and summon the spirit that would drink her life force, quietly, invisibly, during her monthly flow. Olivia knew something was wrong. She woke up the next morning feeling weak, shaky, drained, and unusually cold. She went to her mother and said, "Mama, something takes my strength at night. I don't know what it is, but I feel it." Nneka brushed it off gently. "Maybe you're stressed from school, or maybe you've been pressing your phone too much. Just drink water, you'll be fine." Olivia believed her mother. She continued living her life as usual. But every month she grew weaker. Something seemed to drain her energy, not just her strength, but her vitality. Olivia began fainting unexpectedly. This time it was Nneka who noticed the drastic change. "Olivia, why are you looking sick this morning?" she asked, worried. "Mama, I told you, something takes my strength every month. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it." "All right," Nneka said firmly. "We're going to the hospital." Nneka and Olivia visited the hospital. After several examinations and tests, the doctor shook his head gently. "There is nothing medically wrong with her," he said. He prescribed blood tonics, supplements, and immune boosters, assuring Nneka that Olivia would be fine. Olivia followed the doctor's instructions, and for a while, she felt a little better. But during her next cycle, she fell asleep and woke up unable to stand on her feet. Nneka panicked. "My village people are at it again," she cried. "They have come after my daughter. We must go to church." And so they went. One prayer house, then another, then another. Prophets shouted. Pastors shook their heads. Some blamed village enemies. Some blamed generational curses. Some blamed invisible forces. And every time Olivia suffered, Odogwu would say, "Nneka, live there. It is normal. Girls her age experience strange things." He said it calmly. But deep down, fear was eating him alive, because the wise one had warned him. The spirit will feed through her monthly flow, and each feeding will bring you more wealth. But one thing the wise one did not tell him was this: the spirit grows hungry over time, and when the time of hunger is over, it will come for the one who made the covenant. One day, Nneka confided in a friend about Olivia's mysterious illness. The friend immediately told her about a popular church in Lagos, a place widely known for miracles. Without hesitation, Nneka took Olivia to see the famous Lagos prophet who often appeared on TV. The man welcomed them with exaggerated smiles and flamboyant English. "My daughters, I have seen the attack. It is powerful, but God is more powerful." The congregation erupted. "Yes, Daddy, deliver her." He danced around them theatrically, waving his hands dramatically as the crowd roared. After the service, he asked them to meet him in his office. Inside, he leaned back in his golden chair and said, "You must bring money to buy prayer materials to fight this attack. It is from your enemies. They are jealous of you and want to destroy your daughter." Nneka swallowed hard. "Man of God, how much?" "Only 3 million naira," he replied casually. to buy 7 bottles of Jerusalem oil, 10 prayer shawls, and a special mountain stone from Israel. Nneka gasped. 3 million? Yes. Your daughter needs serious deliverance, he insisted. She hesitated. But when a mother sees her child suffering, logic disappears. She paid. The next day, they returned to the church. The pastor prayed loudly, shouted, shook violently, rolled on the ground, and finally declared, Your daughter is free. The congregation cheered. Nneka rejoiced. They went home happily. She even cooked a feast in thanksgiving. But the very next month, exactly at 1 a.m., on the first night of Olivia's monthly cycle, she fell into the same unnatural sleep. Her energy drained. Again, she woke trembling. Mama, nothing changed. Nneka almost fainted. Worried, Nneka approached her husband. Honey, I need to stay awake and monitor Olivia during her next cycle. This is getting out of hand, and I'm scared for our daughter's life. But Odogwu, afraid she might discover the truth he was hiding, began secretly tampering with her evening tea. Every time he knew the ritual night was approaching, he would add sleeping drops into Nneka's drink, and like a spell, she would fall into a deep, heavy sleep, unable to wake, unable to notice anything happening around her. After the first failed prophet in Lagos, Nneka and Olivia became relentless. Every month, on that same night, when Olivia's monthly flow was drained, they would rush to a new prayer house, hoping for a solution. They became what neighbors whispered about as church hunters, spending heavily on expensive anointing oils, holy water, prayer shawls, and bizarre ritual kits promised to repel the mysterious attacks. One prophet in Victoria Island demanded 5 million naira for a purification ceremony with imported sacred herbs. Another, in Lekki, claimed that Olivia was being tormented by a spiritual husband and needed to fast for 40 days while being sprinkled with sacred fire water. The cost 4 million naira. Each time, Nneka paid without hesitation because the life and health of her daughter mattered more than anything. Yet, every month, exactly at 1 a.m. on the first night of Olivia's cycle, the same thing happened. Her eyes grew heavy, her body succumbed to a deep, unnatural sleep, and the energy drained from her as if a force unseen had tied itself to her very being. She would wake trembling, exhausted, but the fake prophet would assure them, Child, the attack is over. Go in peace. The spirits are satisfied. And yet, nothing changed. Odogwu, behind closed doors, ensured the ritual continued undisturbed. He would drug Nneka subtly, usually by adding a few drops into her tea or water on nights when the covenant needed to be fed. By the time Nneka fell into a deep, peaceful slumber, Odogwu would activate the charm, a small, ancient object filled with spiritual energy that fed off the mystical bond tied to Olivia's monthly cycle. No one else could see it, and Olivia's energy flowed into it like a river feeding a hidden reservoir. Each time this happened, wealth returned to Odogwu's accounts. Clients returned, bills were paid, and every financial problem seemed to vanish. Yet, with each feeding, Olivia grew weaker in spirit, fearful that the source of her suffering was too powerful to ever end. She was slowly becoming a shadow of herself. The mother and daughter tried everything. They prayed, they fasted, they spent lavishly, but it only prolonged the agony. One fateful day, determined to uncover the truth, Olivia hid a small camera inside her wardrobe without telling her parents. On the next ritual night, she fell into her unnatural sleep as always, but this time, the camera caught everything. It recorded her father performing the secret ritual, the movements, the chants, and the faint red glow of spiritual energy connecting him to the charm, while his strength slowly faded. By morning, Olivia woke up weaker than ever because the camera didn't lie. With trembling hands, she rushed to her wardrobe. She pressed play. What she saw next shattered her world. Her eyes filled with tears. Her hands shook uncontrollably. Papa, she whispered. You! How could you? Silent heartbreak turned into sobs. She ran to her mother, crying uncontrollably. Nneka watched the video. A scream shook the entire apartment. My husband, my own husband, he has been doing this all along. Fear, betrayal, and fury surged through her like a storm. She packed Olivia's belongings in silence, her mind racing, her heart broken. She didn't confront him. She didn't trust what he might do. By sunrise, they fled the city, leaving behind the man they once loved and the life that had once felt safe. By sunrise, Nneka and Olivia had already left the city. The streets were quiet, but their hearts pounded like drums. Every corner, every honking car, every shadow felt like a reminder of what they had escaped. Back at home, Odogwu came back to an empty apartment. At first, he thought they were still asleep, but when he saw the wardrobe, the camera, the silence, his heart sank. His face twisted in disbelief, then anger. No, this cannot be, he muttered. For the first time, he realized the cost of his actions was catching up with him. Meanwhile, Nneka and Olivia reached her brother's small house far from the city, trying to shield her daughter from the fear and shame of the past. But Olivia's eyes were haunted. She had seen too much. Nneka held her tight. We're safe now, my darling. He can't touch us here. Yet in the shadows, Odogwu's influence lingered. The charm, the ritual, the wealth, all of it was still tied to her, still calling her spirit back. Nneka contacted a friend who knew a true spiritual prophet, Prophet Israel, a man revered for his deep understanding of the spirit world. They arrived at a sanctuary outside the city, surrounded by high walls and the sounds of nature, far from human interference. Prophet Israel listened patiently as Nneka recounted months of fake prophecies, Olivia's drained energy, the ritual charm, and Odogwu's betrayal. His eyes grew serious. The covenant tied to your daughter's monthly cycle must be broken, he said. This is no ordinary attack. It is a spiritual contract. To break it, we will need 5 things. Red sand from your village, white chalk, sea salt, a picture of Odogwu, and the covenant itself, which will dissolve through ritual. Nneka and Olivia gathered the materials. Each item carried deep symbolism. The red sand represented the ancestral roots of their family. The white chalk formed protective boundaries around Olivia. The sea salt purified the space and cleared lingering dark energies. Odogwu's picture acknowledged the source of the covenant. The ritual acted as a spiritual reset. The day of Olivia's cycle arrived. Prophet Israel led them to a secluded mountain clearing, far from human noise. The wind whispered through the trees, and a small wooden altar was prepared. Olivia lay on the table, encircled by rings of white chalk for protection. Fires burned around them, symbolizing purification. Prophet Israel scattered sea salt along the perimeter, chanting prayers that invoked the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and air, to bind the covenant and sever its link to Olivia forever. He mixed water with red sand and placed it symbolically on her chest, calling on the elements to reclaim her stolen energy. Her spirit seemed to lift and separate briefly from her body during the cleansing. The ritual lasted 24 hours. Storm winds swept through the mountain. Fire danced along the altar. The elements seemed alive, fighting on Olivia's behalf. Night turned to dawn, and as the sun rose, her spirit reconnected fully to her body. For the first time in months, she woke feeling light, whole, and free. The oppressive weight that had haunted her vanished. She sat up and laughed, tears of relief rolling down her cheeks. She felt herself again. Back in the city, Odogwu's wealth began to vanish. Investments failed. Banks froze accounts. Clients disappeared. The charm he had relied on no longer responded. The covenant was broken. Odogwu's face, once full of arrogance, turned to fear. He tried to consult the wise one, but the ritual source had been neutralized. The spirit he had fed for months now sought him instead. Madness crept in. He could no longer touch money without dread, could no longer sleep without fear, and the world he had clawed his way back into slowly crumbled under the weight of his own choices. And so, in the quiet of his empty showroom, surrounded by the furniture he once sold with pride. Odogwu breathed his last. Nneka and Olivia rebuilt their lives slowly but with purpose. Olivia's spirit, once drained and weary, now thrived. She grew stronger, wiser, and spiritually fortified, aware of the dangers that come from shortcuts and covenants made in desperation. Wealth may come easily, but the price is not always counted in naira. Some debts are spiritual, some prices are forever. Moral lessons. Not every wealth is worth pursuing. Be careful who you envy. Some riches are fed by tears. A parent's desperation must never become a child's burden. Spiritual shortcuts end with spiritual consequences. Light always wins, even when darkness rises first. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment.